How to worship when you're overwhelmed. Now, I don't mean overwhelmed like with grief or sorrow or pain, but actually overwhelmed at the grandeur of God. How do you put words to your praise? And I want to share something with you that I've learned over the years of being a pastor and helping people grow in their spiritual disciplines. Whenever I've been with a group and I've said, hey, let's just praise God. Go around the circle and it's a prayer time. By the third person, we always move from praise to thanks. Now, thanks is valuable. Like we talked about it last week, it's super valuable. But thanks is still inward. It's about what you gave me. Praise is outward facing. So I would say praise in some ways is more important than even gratitude because you're focusing on the person of God. But how do you do that? I mean, what do you say to God about His grandeur? How do you praise God? It is such an awkward conversation that I decided I need to learn how to do this for me. So here's what I did. I opened up the book of Revelation and I read only the parts that were indented, the poetic parts. And I realized those are the parts of praise. And I just started studying, what are they saying about God? And it falls into two categories. God, you are. That's his nature. So God, you are beautiful. God, you are powerful. God, you are wise. God, you are strong. God, you are attentive. And God, you have. Not what He owns, but what He has done. God, you created the world. You parted the Red Sea. You raised Jesus from the dead. And I thought, I'm just going to spend some time praising God. Not thanking, not asking for it, just praising God. At the time, I was the pastor of a church called Harlandale Christian Church. It's still in San Antonio, Texas. And we were doing an all-night prayer vigil, so I took 1 to 3 in the morning. And so I go into the church, it's dark, there's some candles, and I just begin praising God. And I decided all I'm gonna do is say, God, you are, God, you have. It wasn't 30 minutes before I was laying flat on the ground in awe of who God was, overwhelmed by His power, His beauty, His goodness. It was not hard for me to go 2 hours just saying all the things that God was and all the things that God had done. And it triggered a healing in me that I covet for you. When we talk about praising God, and there's plenty in the Psalms that will help us give vocabulary to this kind of praise. This is a skill that honestly is rare, not only in our prayers, but even in our music. And I want you to begin listening for true praise of God. And by doing that, you will see Him more clearly. And once you can see God clearly on His throne, you will see yourself more clearly in His light. And that is something worth talking about.